After this brazen smash and grab at jewellers in London, West London in fact, the leader of Richmond Council has told ITV News London that criminals have become emboldened by lack of visible policing. Shoppers watched in disbelief on Saturday morning as two men broke through a window and grabbed handfuls of jewellery. Here's our correspondent, Simon Harris.
Calling the police! Call the police!
It's the middle of the morning and a brazen smash and grab is underway at a jeweller's shop in Richmond. Once the sledgehammers have done their damage, the reinforced glass is peeled back. As one of the thieves tries to fill a bag, someone in the shop is fighting back. The other member of the gang is now struggling with the toughened glass. The window finally falls away, revealing someone else in the shop frantically trying to clear the window of valuables. The commotion alerts other shopkeepers who bolt their doors.
Everyone was quite afraid and we started to shut the doors. I saw the two guys, the robbers, just running along the shop. Then a couple of friends next door, they tried to chase them, but they couldn't do anything. It was dangerous anyway.
Lorenzo, a cobbler, was one of those who joined the chase.
I heard a commotion, so I followed them. To get to the green by the fountain, there was a van, a white minivan parked there. So they got into it and drove off.
The van was later found abandoned. In Richmond today, it was hard to find anyone who hadn't seen the video, which ends with this comment.
No one's got the arms here, that's the trouble.
It's so violent. And of course, there's nothing you can do. You daren't intervene, because they could have knives or guns or whatever.
It was too dangerous with the vicious sledgehammer, and they were angry already, I think, and hyped up.
I do shop there. Unfortunately, it's not safe anymore. We're not safe anymore.
The Liberal Democrat leader of Richmond Council said the shocking nature of the robbery reinforces fears that crime is out of control.
What we see is that people now feel emboldened to come out and commit this type of crime, and at the same time, we're seeing the police seemingly stepping back from having visible presence in communities. We're seeing that the mayor is closing front counters across the capital, for instance.
But that was dismissed by City Hall. A spokesperson for Sadiq Khan said the robbery was appalling, but the mayor was working closely with the Met Commissioner to revitalise neighbourhood policing and put more officers on the streets. Tonight, Scotland Yard said there had been no arrests. Simon Harris, ITV News, Richmond.
Hello, an eyewitness has told ITV News London of the horrifying moments a man fell from 5 floors up after a railing at his block of flats gave way. Joshua Robbins went out onto a communal landing in Holborn to look down for a delivery rider when he fell to his death. His dad was there on Thursday night and witnessed the immediate aftermath, something his family said no parent should ever have to see. Josh's parents say they want answers from the Housing Association, which owns the estate. Here's our correspondent, Simon Harris.
Thurston Dwellings in Holborn, a block of flats where 5 balconies have been boarded up. 4 of them have metal railings, but on the top floor, the 5th, the railings have gone. It's where, on Thursday, Josh Robbins tried to attract the attention of a pizza delivery rider.
My son Josh is dead, and he shouldn't be.
This is the powerful and emotional video posted online by Josh's mum, Fiona.
All he did was open a door and take a look outside to see if it was for him. And the railing gave way, and he plunged to his death.
Josh was 23. Born in Northern Ireland, he moved to London as a young man and was living with his dad, Will. His horrific death has traumatised other residents of Thurston Dwellings.
Do you imagine coming from the 5th floor? He will never survive it.
Tatiana knew Josh well and heard his final words and screams.
I hear somebody say, "It's here, mate. It's here." Was said like that. And other second was, I'm sorry to swear, but was said, he said like that. We said, I hear the noise, yeah. Boom. I thought, I said, bang, bang, and bang, and there.
In the hours that followed, plywood sheets were put up to seal off the balconies as the Housing Association took steps to prevent any further tragedy. Other railings in the block have been reinforced with scaffolding and wood. One resident told me they were recently repainted, yet there appears to be obvious corrosion in some places. In a letter to residents seen by ITV News, Islington and Shoreditch Housing Association wrote, "To ensure everyone remains safe, please make sure you do not touch or place any weight on the railings." In a statement, Pippa Fleetwood-Reid, the association's chief executive, said, "We are fully cooperating with the police and their investigation, but at this early stage it would be inappropriate to comment further until the full facts surrounding the incident have been established."
No one should have to make these decisions. No one with a child should be dealing with pathologists on their behalf. No one should be thinking about whether to bury or cremate their child.
Was really nice boy, really, really nice. I feel so sad, sorry, but he was very sweet boy, very, very polite, very respectful.
Josh's parents wrote on social media today, "Safety barriers exist to save lives. When they fail, families deserve answers."
Simon, Josh's family obviously in shock and grieving, but they also want answers.
Yes, Yasmin, they were too upset to talk to us in person today, but they are determined to find out why this happened. They say they don't want to prejudice the inquest into his death, but they do want answers to some very important questions. Were the railings inspected? What about maintenance records? And were there any concerns raised about corrosion or structural integrity? They're also planning to write to Josh's MP. That's the Member of Parliament for Holborn and St Pancras, Sir Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister.
Simon, thank you.
It has been another explosive week in Westminster today. The Prime Minister cemented his claim that he did not know the extent of Peter Mandelson's relationship with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, raising questions from all sides of the House about his judgment. Well, the late debate is back tonight following the late news. Here's our political correspondent Simon Harris with the details on Starmer and what else to expect.
On the late debate tonight, we'll be asking how long will it be before the MP for Holborn and St Pancras is back on the back benches. Sir Keir Starmer is under pressure like never before for hiring Peter Mandelson as the UK's ambassador in Washington. Today, the Prime Minister faced more questions about why the vetting process didn't uncover the full extent of Mandelson's friendship with the paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and why he, Starmer, as an experienced lawyer, didn't get the truth out of Mandelson.
I believed what he said to me. I regret that. I apologise for having believed him. He gave answers to the questions that were asked of him. I assumed and treated those answers as true. That was obviously a mistake.
As well as the scandal engulfing Downing Street, we'll also talk about the government's plans to reform the leasehold system, as well as proposals which spell the end of the Met's historic mission to take on the terrorists. That's the late debate here on ITV1 after news at 10.
Life as a leaseholder can get very expensive, particularly in the capital. So will the government shake up, bring a welcome bit of financial relief? We spoke to a mum of two in Wanstead whose repair bill soared from £4,000 to a whopping £46,000. She hasn't got the money, and many more are in a similar position. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
As you can see, we've got dents in the wall. It's just not a nice environment to come back to after a long day. At the top of the ceiling, paint hanging down, which obviously needs to be repaired. Unfortunately, here we have a window that on our first day of purchase, the whole window frame fell out on us.
When Liz and her partner bought their first flat, they were under no illusion parts of it were shabby. They say their landlord, Newham Council, suggested they would have to pay a contribution of around £4,000 for the renovations. But 6 years on, they've been told their bill for repairs to the block in Wanstead is now £46,000.
We were worried about how we would afford this. Initially, we were told by Newham that we would have 2 years to pay this once the final bills were released. And to pay that when we're paying for childcare, a mortgage and the cost of living going up, it is impossible for us to pay for that.
Liz and her partner are typical of hundreds of thousands of people who own their home but not the building it's in. Labour's election manifesto in 2024 promised better protection for leaseholders. Tenants would be given the right to manage their properties and commonhold would become the default for new homes.
The bottom line of the commonhold system is the people who buy the flats, own the building and have all the control and the responsibility for what goes on in that building. So it's a fundamentally fairer system.